Yes, people, and welcome to this is the first ever edition of this, actually. First ever edition of the Sarcasm City TV Sports Specials. You know me, I'm always trying to expand on Sarcasm City TV, always try and bring you more content, always try and bring the fans of Sarcasm City, the residents of Sarcasm City, I should say, even better content. So I came up with this idea, the Sarcasm City TV Sports Specials, people. So it won't just be me here by myself. How the Sarcasm City TV Specials will work, people, it will be me and I'll be joined by a special guest, or it might be two special guests, it may be three special guests. So you can already see on the schedule, I've got a few of them lined up. I'm going to keep it under wraps who I've got coming on in the future, but it was only right, you know what I'm saying, to start with this guy who I'm gonna introduce. I've worked with before. I see him building his empire over on his own channel, and I respect that so highly because I know how hard that is to do. But not only is he growing as an individual brand, he's also growing his empire and with his peoples over there. But you can catch him on many shows, whether it's his own channel, which has got 7k subs, so that's gonna hit 10k subs in no time. You might catch him on the Big Six show, you know what I'm saying? You may catch him somewhere else, you might catch him on here as well, you may see him on Big Six Bants also in it, and also as well you catch him on one of my favorite shows to do, Battle of the North as well. He's one of the quartet on there. So I got a welcome from Never a Foul, man like MCF Daps in the building. Yes, Daps, what you saying?
What are you saying, bro?
I'm good, man.
You
good
know
to
what?
have you on.
And let me be clear, we learned from you, bro. When we first started, it was you that we looked up to, like, real talk. So, and the work rate is just insane. So yeah, it took us about a year to work out what the fuck we were doing, and then in June just realized everything that we've been soaking up, right, and thought we need to start again and go again because yeah.
Trial and error, man, but love for the kind words, and that's what it is. I see you lot growing over
and
there.
And it is that. You know, from day one, and you were like one of the first people me and Soups had on Chew the Fat. So it's not me just saying it. It was that from day one. Like,
100%.
And the work rate's just insane. Even when, like, so you know when you can redirect, and you see who you can redirect to, and I see Flawless has got like his next 12 shows all set up ready. No one's, bro, but people don't understand the stuff that happens behind the scenes, in it, the setting up, the doing the thumbnails and all that, and let me tell you now, like, the biggest channels out here, they set up their streams like an hour before the show because it's tedious, it's long, it's boring, right? it's something, it's like, you know, when you've got work at school and you leave it till the last minute because you don't want to do it. That's what 100%. Setting streams up is like, So when I look on there, I see that is work rate, that you're doing that. You're going, no, these are the shows that are happening. So I always say I want to do that, but I never get around to doing it. So
soon come, man. You know what I'm saying? And that it's only in time, once you get in the routine of it, that's what it is. It's like, it's a routine thing, I'm telling you. You know what I'm saying? And that it's a routine thing. But now, love for the kind words, man. And me and Daps was talking before this. We're definitely gonna link up more often. But like he stated, never a foul. He be working hard over there. I be working hard over here. So that's what it is. But we're definitely gonna make the link up more regular. And you can see us people weekly on Battle of the North, which is a great show. Big up to Matisse, large up to Don Hassam as well. You lot get your questions in. It's not just on the title. So obviously I put, should Manchester City be worried about Arsenal? So obviously we'll discuss that with Daps being a Manchester City fan, but I'm sure you lot will have Ronaldo questions for me. I'm sure you lot will have,
you're getting them constantly
already. Like people constantly, every stream is Ronaldo.
You know what I've found today, because I've done one or two posts on Instagram about it, just laughing, and literally I've had, because I saw a video the other day of this United fan outside the ground going on about, it's mad, like, literally people won't come if Ronaldo doesn't play anymore, and it's like, what the and it's not a joke. There really are people that are riding the fuck out for Ronaldo. And then today I put a couple of things up and I've got them sliding in my inbox. Like, what's your problem? Why do you hate Ronaldo so much? I'm like, well, firstly, I'm a City fan. I was like, but I don't hate Ronaldo. I hate your club. Right. I find this shit hilarious. I'm posting stuff because I find it funny. But they're like, even trying to go at Rooney, and I'm like, clearly you're a Ronaldo stan. You're not a United fan. You're a Ronaldo stan, because the way you're trying, it's like, well, Rooney nearly joined your club 12 years ago, so he's disrespected. So I'm like, you can't compare a player doing them moves to get more money to what Ronaldo's done. And the fact that you're doing that, you're a Ronaldo stan. You're not a United fan. Like, it's mad. It really is mad. And I kind of see that will happen with City, because I already see it. Like, there are, there's City fans that just ride out for Haaland and ride out for Mahrez. We got loads over Mahrez. That it's crazy, isn't it?
It is nuts. And I've spoken on that, and being a content creator and talking to even more fans, and obviously being on socials, and you see more opinions. That's the more and more I realize every single day how people will put a player or a manager above the success of the club. Like, there is definitely Manchester United fans who would rather Manchester United be unsuccessful but Ronaldo be playing, rather than Manchester United being successful and Ronaldo's not here or Ronaldo's on the bench. I was on Casually FC, shout out to Marshall, big up Surfer as well, and Rachel was on there, and she said she's seen tweets after the Spurs game, after we won, talking about, it feels like a loss because of what happened with Ronaldo. This is Manchester United fans saying this. Bear in mind, one of our better performances and an important 3 points as well.
But that was the one for me. Like, people say, oh, he's a leader. Like, someone, there was one that was trying to ask my opinion on it, and I was like, I ain't got an opinion on it, and I do, but the guy was pissing me off. I don't follow him. He doesn't follow me. I don't know how he found me, but it was like, I don't even know why. It's only because I'm bored at work that I'm responding to you.
Yeah,
but he was like, what's your opinion on Ronaldo as a player? And I was just like, I don't care, bro. Leave me alone. But my actual opinion is, you know what? I have always slyly been Ronaldo over Messi, since I've been a dad. And that's because of how his work rate impressed me, that he's had to work harder than Messi, I believe, because Messi's gifted, and it was that. And then there's, like, when Portugal, when he got injured and he came off and he was on the touchline, and it's like, that I rate that, but then this just goes against it, because for me, you're an experienced senior member of the team, and, like, when your team wins, you should be there to, like, celebrate with your team. The fact he dipped off when you had a good win against Spurs, for me, was like, nah, that's too much, man. You can't be doing that. And also on the Ten Hag thing, like, I think Ten Hag handled it perfectly. He was the big man, because he came out and said, look, you've done what you've done. We're gonna miss you, but you have to hold it. You have to hold it. We are going to miss you. You are an important part of this team, but for the good of the team, you have to hold it. Man of his word. A week later, right, cool. Come on, you're back in the team. Right. I'm showing you there is no hard feelings. You held it because you had to, but you're back in the team for the next 2 games. That is being a mature and showing there ain't no, I'm being the manager, you be the player. There's no issues between us. It's not personal. Nothing. And then all of this, it's like, nah, man, I can't. Like I said, it's funny, but I don't know how people can defend it. I don't
know why people will defend it, because there is and this is why I stopped debating people like a long time with certain things online, because people will let their emotions cloud their judgment. So if I'm on a live stream and I'm going back and forth with a fellow content creator or someone, one of the panelists or someone in the chat, that's all well and good. But outside of here, I don't, because what I've realized is people don't care about logic. It's all about Cristiano Ronaldo. This Cristiano Ronaldo situation is just Ollie, but as a player, because I had the conversations with the exact same. It was, we should back Ollie because of what he did as a player. He'll be successful here, when all the evidence points to this manager not being good enough. And it's the same with Ronaldo this season.
It's one of those things that it's just another one that shows me when, like, I've already had people say, would you have Vinny to replace Pep? And I'm like, listen, firstly, Vinny's had a good couple of months at Burnley, right? Yeah. You think no, bro, he's not coming in to take over from Pep Guardiola. No, but more so for me, I'm not going to say Vinny can't ever manage City, because if the guy does what he's doing at Burnley, goes on to another Premier League team and takes them somewhere and does something very serious with them, listen, I would love nothing more than Vincent Kompany to do with Manchester City what Pep Guardiola did with Barcelona. But that don't happen very often. And I would rather not chance it and not have to have my impeccable vision of Vincent Company changed. Like, I don't want that. And honestly, it's just, and I think realistically, like Liverpool fans, they were riding out for Gerrard. They became Villa fans, riding out for Gerrard. Like, yeah, he's the next up. I don't want that. I'd rather say, yeah, our ex manager, our ex player, who's my favorite City player of all time, has gone on to be a good manager elsewhere. That's cool. I'm good with that.
Yeah, it's all about credentials. That's what I'm on. I'm on credentials. If you bring me an ex-player, I don't care that he's been an ex-player at Manchester United. What are his credentials as a manager? Where has he been successful that allows him to what makes people think and what qualifies him to be Manchester United manager, or in your instance, Manchester City manager? If Vincent Kompany does very well at Burnley, promotes them, or he goes to another Premier League club, and then he does exceptionally well, and I don't know, he's in a title
for a long time as well. A long time.
Like, that's it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's all it is. Like, I'm on qualification. What are your I don't care how I feel about you. I would, if there was an ex-City player, you know what I'm saying, who was managing and was top notch, and he was favorites to take over Manchester United, I'm taking that. I'm absolutely cool.
I mean, look, Brian Kidd was massive for us for years. You know what I mean? Brian Kidd was I think even when Pep first came in, Brian Kidd was still there. I'm pretty certain he was
still there.
Yeah,
he might have been still there.
He's there for years, and that's what it is. It's what it is.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%.
Like, and that's what it is. I see you lot. Big up everyone in the chat. I see all you lot. Bump up the likes. Make sure you get the likes up. Please share this across all the socials. Subscribe to the channel Sarcasm City TV. Hit the notification bell. Make sure you go and subscribe to Never a Foul. The link is in the title, people. So if you click the link in the title, opens up a new tab. You can do that right now and go and subscribe and see all the great content that Never a Foul have going on over there as well, people. Mohammed, you've been all right. So he says here, United fans are very toxic. Daps. They humiliated managers like Van Gaal, Mourinho, and took players down like Pogba and Di Maria. How did Manchester United take down Van Gaal and Mourinho? They were two managers who weren't good enough. Like, people put way too much stock and give fans way too much credit. If Van Gaal was successful here, most fans will get off his back. If Mourinho was successful here, most fans will get off his back. Pogba, who I'm a fan of, wasn't fit enough, and Di Maria wanted to leave.
You know what? Di Maria, I don't know how anyone can. Di Maria, no. I'm not even, bro, he didn't even do well for you lot. Like, that one's mad. Pogba, I defended Pogba for time, like, I wanted Pogba at City. When we played Juventus, when we played Juventus, when we still had Yaya, I was like, he's the next Yaya. Well, I wanted him badly, But for ages, like, I defend the fact that 2 years ago in January, when you were top, he'd been unreal for 2 or 3 months for you. Then he got injured. You man dropped off. When he came back, he didn't really care, but you man had dropped off. And it was only then that I thought, hold on a second. You know what? You shouldn't play poor because you're not in the title race no more. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, Pogba, when he was playing for a trophy, he was shining. The minute there was no trophy there no more, he dropped off. And I did kind of think you can't do that realistically. But look, the thing is, your fan base is split like any big fan base is. Do you know what I mean? Like, it is how it is. I think the one person that I always say I think got a hard time was Moisey, right? This drives Soups crazy. It drives everyone crazy. But the reason is,
why I know Soups is. I know it, isn't it? You know what I'm saying?
The reason is, for me,
and if Soups wants to join and have you say, feel free, man. But go on, carry on. I know he's there. If Soups feel free in it, but yeah, go on, Daps, carry on.
The reason is that, like, since Moyes, every other manager has been given excuses. Go
on.
The Glazers, ultimately, right?
No.
But no other manager has had to follow in Alex Ferguson's footsteps. He had to follow in Alex Ferguson's. He was the one that took the slump. No one else. But he never got the excuse of it's the Glazers, really. He just got it's on you. You've gone from... He had to take the slump. So I think it was a little bit harsh. The rest got, oh no, Glazers. He never got that. He just got, you fucked up. And it's like, no. For me... But then people would tell me other stuff, that the football was negative and the interviews were negative. And
the thing that, you know what the problem is with Moyes is, I was just spoke about it there in terms of he just wasn't qualified. Like Moyes is good
Yeah, yeah,
to a certain level. Moyes' level, and this is no disrespect, is Everton. He did an exceptional job at Everton. We've seen the job he's doing at West Ham. Obviously, they've tailed off a little bit this season, but just in general, like they're in Europe. Like they're trying to be the best of the rest. They're a top 7, top 8 club. That's Moyes' level in terms of if you want to be like the best of the rest, that's the level it'll get you to. Even when he was at Everton, he got them top 4 once. They was in the Champions League once. The West Ham are now in Europe again. That's his level, but his football and just his qualifications for going to try and compete for top honors ain't it. Because I didn't want Moyes in the first place. I was livid. When Fergie retired and we was linked with Moyes, I was livid.
Yeah, if you look back now, if you would have took the jump on one of these European managers, it could have been a completely different story. Yeah.
Absolutely, but it's one of the 48 laws of power. Avoid stepping into a great man's shoes. Whoever that was literally a poison chalice. Like in terms of
it was 100%.
Going to try and follow the greatest ever manager of all time. Like that's pretty much an impossible task. All you could do is match him. That's all you can do. You can't really better him. And then obviously what happened after Moyes. But yeah, the Glazers, we all know the Glazers were a problem. The Glazers were a problem when Fergie was in charge. And the Glazers were a problem under Moyes and all the managers and are still a problem now.
Does Fergie get on with the Glazers? I guess he must do, right?
I don't think he has much. To tell you the truth, I don't think he has. He had a relationship with him. If they had conversations, I think it was limited. So do I believe he got on with them? No, I just believe there wasn't much communication.
You had Martin Edwards. Was it Martin Edwards you had then?
So he would have Martin Edwards, David Gill. You know what I'm saying? That
was it Martin Edwards? And they would have been the go-between, innit? Yeah.
So that's what that was. But that's why with the Glazers, it's like, are they a problem? Yes. But can you be successful under them? Also, yes. Like I've said it before, dominating and going back to back and winning Champions Leagues back to back or winning Premier Leagues back to back, that's pretty much impossible with the Glazers. Like, forget about that. But can you compete? Yes, because I've seen Fergie compete under them.
When did the Glazers come in?
Was it 05? I think it might have been 05. I don't know. Someone let me know in the chat. I'm saying like that's legit what it is. But you can compete with them because United spend enough money to compete. The problem with Manchester United isn't spending money, it's how we spent the money. And this window that's just gone, you can see how we spent the money well. We spent the money well, we've got a good manager, and you can see the difference that is being made within the team. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Do you know what? There was an interesting conversation yesterday because basically Robbie was talking about how Arteta went to Edu and the board and said, no, we have to get rid of Aubameyang, right? We have to get rid of Aubameyang. And the board were like, well, you know, Aubameyang's a big player and the fans love him. Are you sure? And Robbie was saying, you know, Ten Hag should have done this with the Glazers. And I was kind of like, but we don't know that didn't happen. We don't know.
Yeah.
He's tried. We don't. Like, the Glazers will never allow Amazon to show us what really is happening. So those conversations may well have happened. And they might have said, give him one more chance. That's why Ten Hag was a bigger man and said, no problem. I'll try. And he did try for me. So I think Ten Hag managed it perfectly. Like I said, he managed
the situation. I don't know what Ten Hag was supposed to do. Like that people are complaining about. Manchester United play better football without Cristiano Ronaldo in the side.
Yeah,
that's 100%. A fact. Yeah, that is a fact. The only person who doesn't believe that is Cristiano Ronaldo and Roy Keane. They're the only two people I see stating that Ronaldo should be starting at this point. And my rebuttal to that, I tell everybody, ask rival fans, ask people who are not involved.
Yeah. It's easy.
When we play you lot in the derby, you want to see Ronaldo up front. You want to see Ronaldo.
You know what? Now I do. Obviously, yes. I get that. Last season was like he did nothing against us last season, and so last season we kind of saw it that against us he was nowhere to be seen. I believe he actually gave the ball away for one of the goals in one of the games as well. So yeah, you're right, and yeah, you can just see it. He's just trying to do things that he used to do that he can't do no more, and ultimately it's like, no, this style of football, you shouldn't be looking to shoot from that position. You should be looking for one more pass or possibly even two more passes before the ball is being put in the back of the net. So yeah, I hear it. And I think the other thing is people were trying to sell this narrative that Man United should have sold him in the summer, and it's like no one offered nothing for him.
I'm glad you said it. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh,
You know what I'm
it's
saying? I'm glad you have said it because I've been saying this where people are like, "Oh, Ronaldo said he feels like he was forced out. You wanted to leave. How do you
yeah.
feel forced
Oh,
out of
it's
a
very
football
clear.
club? You
He
wanted
said,
to
I
leave."
will tell you, I will give my, what was it? I will give an interview when the transfer window closes. Fucking hell, come on, man. That's like, do you think you're fucking, do you think you're Boris and this is COVID? That like, you can just say something and we won't be able to see through what you're saying. What you're saying is you'll wait to see if you're sold and then you'll decide what you're going to tell us. No one can afford to pay his wages because everyone knows on the football pitch he doesn't offer enough now. I think the World Cup has probably come. I think this in the World Cup has come at the right time for you lot because this will probably give you a lot of ammunition to maybe be able to terminate the contract without paying him as much.
Yeah, because they're looking at it obviously because the full interview isn't out yet. But from the quotes
Once
that have
they
come
see
out,
it,
they're saying there's more today and there's more. He has breached his contract, and that's why I like the end result. I didn't want Ronaldo in the first place. Like this is well documented. People, for those that are regulars here, they know I was talking about this from before he signed him. They know I was talking about this past season just gone, and I was talking about it this entire season. Let him go. Let him go.
I just said Soups a minute ago. It's funny that he's listing everything that's wrong with the club, right? And it's like, but bro, if the club wasn't in the position that it is in right now, you would not be getting paid the wage that you are getting paid because they'd never sign you. If Man United were not in the state they are right now, you wouldn't be there. They wouldn't go back for you. You'd still be at Juventus or I don't know where else. Because Man United are in a bad place, they signed you. So you're kind of knocking something that's paying your wage at the moment.
And that's it. And on top of that is a lot of what he said, the quotes that have come out in the interview, I agree with. Like, don't get me wrong, people. A lot of what he said was spot on. I have no issue with the majority of what he said. The problem is he is the wrong messenger. I'm not giving you credit for calling out the Glazers. You know why? Because we've been calling out the Glazers for years. Everybody knows the Glazers is the Glazers is a problem. You know what I'm saying? You telling me what is what? You know what I'm saying? And it's all hell, not always called out the Glazers. No, it's self-serving. It's all about him. That's what this is. That's what this is all about. That's what it's entirely about. That's why I don't hear, it's for the betterment. It's for him. He wants to better the club. He loves the club. He loves the fans. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't.
Oh, it's like if I was arguing with someone and you thought my argument was correct, like everything I was saying was right, like but then at the end of it, I used a racist word, right? You'd be like, right, I'm not backing you, bro. No, right. And that's ultimately, it's like, everything you're saying, we hear. But you said one or two things that show us enough that this is not about Manchester United. You're trying to use that spin to get people on your side. But unfortunately, there's a couple of flaws in what you said that make us realize, no, you don't care about this club. You're doing that to try and get us to, be on your side. Like, it's very clear. The guy lives in his own bubble. He's one of the most famous people in the world. And some of the stuff, I even heard him talking about a bicycle kick in one of the interviews where he's saying it's the best bicycle kick that's ever been scored. And he's talking about himself. And it's like
about the Madrid one against Juve. Was it that one?
That one was Juventus one.
Was it Juventus one? Okay.
Yeah.
I remember he scored a bad boy overhead kick. I know that much.
But it's just the way he was talking about it. It was like, your arrogance is next level, which makes him the player he is, to be fair. But anyway.
He is, like I said before we get off it, because I will be discussing this further. We're live at 7:30 people, Mandem United podcast. So myself, Ivorian, a couple special guests will be on there. So we're going to be discussing this in full. I'll try and do a fan calling show on Twitch. I'll try pattern one in today. And then obviously this is all on the schedule anyway. NBA 12:30, Pelicans versus Grizzlies people. But in regards to it, it's all about him. That's why I don't give him no credit for it, because all of these things were an issue last season. But you know why he didn't say anything, people? Because he was playing. He was quote unquote playing well. You know what I'm saying? It was the worst ever Manchester United team. He scored 18 league goals last season. He scored 24 goals. It was serve Ronaldo. If we serve Ronaldo, Manchester United will be successful. That's why he shut up. But now all of a sudden you're not playing well and you're not in the team and your footballing image has took a hit. Now all of a sudden, the Glazers are a problem. The facilities are a problem. They've been here the entire time. since you was here. We were Glazers out when you was here initially, and then you've come
Yeah.
back, and it's took you 12. What? It took you a whole year to now turn around and talk about the Glazers. The time to do this interview was after Manchester United had our worst ever season. That was the time to do the interview if you truly cared about the club. But I don't care that he don't care about the club because I already know this. I'm just not giving him credit for stating the obvious because I know where this is coming from. All because you're not playing. How many things do you need to see this man to do to understand he's not with it? He refused to come on as a sub against Spurs. He walked off early. He wanted to leave in the summer. He left early against in preseason against Real Vallecano. That's 4 things, people. The interview 5, slagging off Ten Hag. Oh, I've been disrespected. I hate that when you're disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? Don't be a disrespectful person and then complain about being disrespected. Stand on it.
For real. But and like I said, Ten Hag showed him respect by basically he didn't slag him off in the press once. He literally said, because of what he did, because the press saw it, the press, they pulled him up straight after the game and said everyone saw it. He didn't bring it up. He said, we're not going to speak on it. He addressed it and said, he has to train away for a week, but we will miss him. He's a vital part of this team. He showed nothing but respect to Ronaldo for me, and for Ronaldo to do that. But yeah, anyway.
Well, yeah, we'll move off of that, people. I'm sure there'll be more questions on it. Get your questions in. If I missed any of your questions, don't worry. We run Q&As on here. So to Mohammed, who was asking, don't worry, man. I get to questions in it, but like we gotta get to this. Should Manchester City be worried about Arsenal? Your thoughts on it, Daps? I don't think you should be. But obviously, I'm from the outside looking in. Neither of my teams are involved. But from a Manchester City perspective, that's why I want to ask you this question. Because I don't think you should be. But that's just me.
So all season, I've been saying the same thing consistently. I don't care. What, game by game. Like, we lost to Brentford. Does that, in my opinion, change the title race? No, it doesn't. I don't think anything that happens between August and this year, November, matters. And obviously, of course, it gives Arsenal a bigger point gap. But here's the thing. There's seasons where we've won the league by multiple points, and there's seasons where we've won the league by goal difference. There's seasons where we've won the league by 1 point. In particular, under Pep, it's just knowing how to win the league. Not by X number of points. It's by just doing what you have to do. Putting the pressure on the other team. I will be honest, right now, because I know when it gets to that time of the season, the business end of the season, you will see a different Manchester City. At the moment, we've been rotating far too much, in my opinion.
Defensively, would you say you're back
defensively? Defensively.
Okay.
Back four. Our centre backs, I think I would probably be almost right saying we've got 5 centre backs, and all 5 of them have played with each other. I reckon. Yeah.
Jeez.
Every partnership, I think, slightly because of injury. I think slightly because it's getting partnerships used to each other. So when it gets to the business end, if for some reason Akanji has to come in and play alongside John Stones, they know how to play alongside each other. It's not their first time. Because when it got to the back end of last season and we had Laporte and Fernandinho, Laporte injured, playing alongside Fernandinho, it was close. It was tight. So, but the one thing that does worry me slightly is it's not so much Arsenal. It's when I look at the World Cup and I look at the amount of games we're going to have to play when we get back, and I look at the fact that Arsenal went out of the Carabao Cup, and then I start thinking it could be fine if we come back with no injuries. I can't see it being an issue, but I worry about players like De Bruyne because Belgium will run him into the ground, right? They did it with Vinny. They've done it with him before. They'll run him into the ground. Will England rush back Kyle Walker? Because for me, Kyle Walker has been a bigger miss than anyone spoke about this season. For me, he's Edison's main outlet when Edison plays out from the back. He's the main. He gets the most out of Mahrez because when Mahrez cuts in, he knows to overlap. When Mahrez stays out wide, he knows to go on those bursting runs on the inside, even if it's just to draw players away. When we've got Stones or Akanji playing there, all right, they're defenders. They don't know what they're doing going forward. They don't know how to, when they get to a certain point in the pitch, and Stones can move into central midfield and do that role okay. That doesn't mean he can play out wide. Okay, you know, it's and and then like for me, that's why even when I've seen Gomez, Rico Lewis play, I'm like, that makes more sense. I know he's only 17, but that's his natural position.
What position does he play? Rico Lewis? Is he a wide player?
Right back.
Oh, he's a right back. Okay,
He's a right back. He's right back, and he's come through the academy playing as a right back in the same system that Pep plays. So he knows how to play that role. When he's played, we look more natural, whereas with the others, it doesn't look natural, and it does worry me. And then of course, naturally, right now we just lost to Brentford, so I've got that fresh in my mind, and we were poor. All of our professional players that usually just get the job done were rubbish. So I'm right now. But then you look at 14 games last season. We were, I think, third. 14 games the season before, we were second.
Oh, right.
We're never first after 14 games. That's not really what we do. So when I look at that, I think, this is City early in the season. When it gets to that business end of the season, we come alive and the professionals start being professional. Arsenal look good, man. I don't want to take their flowers away from them because they have been very, very good.
They have been very good. Yeah, that's the dispute. Yeah. Yes, they have been very good and they surprised everybody. Yes, 100%.
And repeatedly as well. Is when I do shows with Arsenal fans, I almost don't want to say it because they get carried away. But like the first game, Palace away, opening game of the season, evening kickoff. It's not an easy game, and they won that 2-0. So I was like, that's they lost to you. And then after they lost to you, the bounce back at Brentford to go to Brentford and beat them 4-0. A bounce back's important. Beating Leeds in a game that maybe they shouldn't have won. That's the type of game you need to win. So I can't take it away from Arsenal. The one thing I would say is when they have had to rotate even slightly, they don't look the same.
Yeah, because we know that their squad's thin. We know this when you look past their first 11. And by the way, you've answered the question without answering the question because the way you've responded to it, you are not in the slightest worried about Arsenal. I can tell by the way, like the way that you answered that in regards to we've been here before as Manchester City fans. Like
we have. We
were third last season, second the season before, and you know that you have the manager and the players who are capable of going on a run.
2 seasons ago, we lost 5-2 to Leicester at home and had Arsenal fans telling me they were going to finish above us, betting me £100 they'll finish above us. So this time of the season, what Arsenal do is start well. And what we do usually is not start very well. But I just think when it gets to that business, and, you know, people say, but we're overcoming this, we're overcoming that. I get that. You're overcoming some great obstacles, but there's no pressure right now. You're not playing with one. They're not playing with pressure. 2, the better you look, the more teams start playing low block against you. Right.
Facts.
So by the end of this season, everyone's going to be parking the bus against Arsenal. Right. Then it gets harder. Then you've got the pressure. Like right now, you're playing with no pressure because no one expected you to be where you are.
That is facts. You have the element of surprise, and there is more pressure on Manchester City. You know what I'm saying? Arsenal being where they are, it's kind of like if they fall away, we expected it.
And then you look at things like they're going to have to play on Thursdays, right? In Europa League.
Yeah, true.
City going to be playing on Saturday. Arsenal on the Sunday. So when it gets to the point where, you know...
that's a valid point.
25 games, 28 games, 30 games, you have to win every game, and City win on a Saturday and then go over to you, Arsenal, on a Sunday, and they have to go out there and, you know...
get the job done.
Arteta is pulling him in, playing fucking I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles or Blue Moon or You'll Never Walk Alone or whatever song it is, or fucking Chelsea's probably just Chelsea or whatever it is.
Chelsea.
To try and get him up. It's
that chance joke. Sorry.
I can't see it. I struggle to see it. I can
tell.
But they are where they are. And like I said, you know, when your team's just lost, your chest is a bit deflated.
Yeah, you're a little bit. Yeah.
That Brentford game was deflating as hell, man. It really was.
So when you look at it, because you mentioned right at the start was the defensive issues, like not in terms of like, well, you've not been defensively as good as Manchester City have been, but the amount of changes. What is, and you lot get your questions in, don't worry on Manchester City, we will get to them shortly. what is your best centre back partnership in your eyes? So everybody's fit. Who's the two centre backs you want to see, and fullbacks actually? Because you mentioned Kyle Walker already there a few times.
Yeah. So it's definitely Walker and it's definitely Cancelo.
So it's Cancelo, Walker, okay.
And then, so 2 seasons ago, it would have been Stones and Diaz, but for me, it's Laporte. Laporte is the best left-sided because Stones, and it's to do with the change of system.
Well, talk about the changes.
So this season, we're asking Walker and Cancelo in particular, more than Walker, but Cancelo to invert more. So not just go forward, but almost sometimes play as a central midfielder, right? And you saw it against Bournemouth at the start of the season. Every time they try and attack us down that side because they know that Cancelo's out of position. He's kind of playing as a central midfielder. That's where you need a natural left-sided centre-back. Previous seasons, with Diaz and Stones, both of them are right-footed. So they can both play on the right better. Now, a couple of seasons ago, they both were playing centrally, but we weren't inverting our fullbacks as much. Now we're inverting our fullbacks. We need someone naturally. Laporte, for me, is our best centre-back as well, by the way. Clearly.
Oh, okay.
Clearly. So I would... It's hard because Diaz... I'll say Diaz and Laporte.
So it's Diaz and Laporte. So no Stones. So for you, Diaz
that's the hardest one because
Laporte, for the reasons you mentioned with Cancelo inverting forward, you want your left-sided centre back to be left-footed and be comfortable out there. So that makes sense.
If it wasn't for that, I'd say Diaz and Stones because I think Stones has the potential to be our best centre back when he's fit and when he's not getting injured constantly. But Stones isn't a leader. Laporte isn't a leader. Diaz defensively he'll tell man where to go. Do you know what I mean? And he'll throw himself in front of the ball and do them old school kind of John Terry vibe things. So, but it is a hard one because Stones, on paper, it's between them three. Akanji and the Akanji hype. Akanji's okay for me. Yeah.
Good squad player to have.
Yeah, he's not what Ake and Akanji are good squad players. They're not to that level. But yeah, the other thing is Cancelo this season has looked a few times. He's been caught out, and people are starting to notice it and talk on it. And they're right. But what my whole thing with Liverpool fans and Trent was the only thing Liverpool fans did wrong with Trent was defend his defending. Yeah. There's no need to defend his. You don't have to defend his defending. Yeah. It's like Arsenal fans right now trying to defend Jesus being clinical. You don't have to. Your team are top. He has come in and he has improved your team. So take the qualities he has. He has flaws. Everyone has flaws. His flaws is he's not as clinical as Aubameyang. Aubameyang was there. You were finishing 8th. So which would you rather? So the same with Trent. With Trent, he's that good going forward that you don't have to defend his defending. If you get your system right and get players that can protect him like you have in previous seasons, Trent can do what Trent does. Same with Cancelo, in my opinion. So City fans, we don't need to defend Cancelo's defending, right? He's not brilliant defensively, but going forward, he's so important to this City team.
Right.
But without Walker there, the 2 times that he's come unstuck, he's been the last man. Cancelo shouldn't be the last man. Walker's usually the last man, right? But because Walker's not there, Cancelo's the right man. For me, if I was Pep, I'd notice that, and trust me, I shouldn't be telling Pep how to do things, but Cancelo should never be being the last man because you've seen it. He fucks up. So
he's not, because he's the weakest defensively out of your 4.
Yeah.
No matter if Walker's playing or not. So I understand why you would, as a City fan, you wouldn't want Cancelo to be the last man. That makes sense.
It is, but it's just when fan bases, like City fans would see this. Oh, you're cooking a City player. No, but we're that good. But we can talk about issues. It doesn't mean I don't support the club no more.
No, that means you support the club even more. That you're pointing out the faults in the team and in certain players. You want him to do
Cancelo. Better. Let me be clear. I don't want Cancelo dropped. I want Cancelo to hold that position. I just think we need to address it and not try and hide. Oh no, everything's fine. It's not fine. He's made 2 mistakes that have cost us games. That's not fine. So we need to plug that hole. Pause.
Yeah, I hear exactly what you're saying there. And one thing I want to get to, so defensively, you've had issues, and going forward as well, I've seen many, like your wide players mentioned, more so Grealish, who always seems to be a hot topic, Mahrez as well. Because one thing I've noticed, and I give Pep and City credit for, is your wide players are not the traditional wide players who are successful in the Premier League. Like when you look at whether it's Manchester United, whether you look at, well, Chelsea don't, but whether you're looking at Liverpool when they was flying with Salah and Mane, they're more explosive. It's more P&P wingers. But the way Manchester City play, yeah, Leroy Sané was that, and Sterling were the two that you had. But when you look at Grealish, when you look at Mahrez, Bernardo Silva, and all quality players, by the way, Bernardo Silva, when you see Foden out there, like, yes, they can shift and they're agile, but they're not running behind P&P guys. Do you think you missed that without Sterling? Has something changed? Because even though Haaland scored a lot of goals for you and been a phenomenal signing so far, do you miss that? Or do you reckon it's just early season, we're going to get it together, Pep system rules all and reigns supreme?
I think on the right, Mahrez has looked bad this season. And I couldn't put my finger on why he looked bad. But then I think the Walker thing is like, for me, it's the Walker thing. Yeah, I think Mahrez does not have anyone that, like, he ain't got fullbacks. He ain't got Walker. Ultimately, he's got Stones and Akanji. They can't do that role. So I think that's the Mahrez side. The Grealish side, see, I like Grealish. I like Foden out wide, and I like Grealish kind of being a bit more centrally.
Makes sense.
But Grealish floating about almost, because Grealish is like, right, Bernardo Silva and Grealish for me are 2 players that should not have to hold width, because that's not what they're good at. What they're good at is carrying the ball, right? And that's why at the weekend against Brentford, we were all baffled. The Brentford was so organised and were not moving. They weren't budging. They were like, this is where we're supposed to be. And we ain't moving for 90 minutes. Usually City can work some gaps, and they weren't moving. After 45 minutes, we're like, Gundogan ain't working. Get Grealish on. He'll drag some players out of position. And that's why I do think Pep had to hold it on the Brentford game. The players didn't look up for it. But for Pep not to make a change till like the 75th minute, it seemed weird. And it was crying out for Grealish. Grealish is doing a lot better than stats say. And I think the weekend maybe, it's funny because everyone's been knocking Grealish. And then on Saturday night and Sunday, everyone's putting up stats about, City's got 100% win rate with Grealish this season. And it's like, oh, you've noticed now. Because he does the things that are required to make space for De Bruyne, Haaland, Foden, Cancelo to do what they do. Like if players aren't moving, if players are staying with a low block and players aren't, being dragged out of position, then De Bruyne's not getting the space to whip them balls in that Haaland can get to. And that's what I think it was for me. It was calling out for Grealish, but it's I feel for Grealish, man. I think what we could see is, because I don't know if over the last couple of games, Grealish has got better than the last 2 or 3 games. Apparently Pep had said to him, when you're in the box, I don't want you to be doing so outside of the box, do what I've been telling you to do, and you're doing great. Draw players in, make the passes, never lose the ball. However, when you get in the box, no, shoot. I want you to shoot. Don't be looking for another pass. And we've seen it. He's starting to do that. He hasn't scored yet, but I feel that once he finds that range, you're all of a sudden going to see this better Grealish than anyone has ever seen before, because you're going to see the Grealish that you saw at Villa, but you're going to see a Grealish that starts getting some numbers as well. And I really do believe that. He just needs that confidence of finding his range. Then I think it will come. But away from that, we're happy with him because he's doing what he's there to do. Pep would have dragged him. Leroy wanted to go, but Pep never fought it because he wasn't doing what Pep wanted him to do.
Is that what it was? He wasn't following instructions.
Tracking back. His tracking back was shocking. You can't play for Pep and not track back. Whenever City fans say about if Leroy Sané's not happy, we should go in for him. I'm like, not under Pep, it won't happen. Like, I've seen him bring Leroy Sané on and nearly sub him off because he's not tracking back. Like,
that's wild. That's crazy to say that he's done that.
He's cold though, and he's one of the most exciting players I've ever seen at City. But
Sané's quality. Because we got linked with him, and I was like, I'd take him at Manchester United in a heartbeat, 110%. But
I'd take him back at City. I don't care about the tracking back, by the way. But Pep
cares about the tracking back because it seems that obviously your defensive issues in terms of not being able to pick the personnel, the fullbacks not being available, more so Kyle Walker links in not only to City being not eye defensively, but also going forward as well. Because someone mentioned in the comments about the cup in the Carabao Cup against Chelsea, Grealish, you're seeing a better Grealish and a better Mahrez with overlapping fullbacks. So you think once you get your team back and Kyle Walker's back,
Rico Lewis and Gomez, because they do that, whereas Cancelo's more inverting. Like I see Gomez slightly as a raw version of Kolarov a bit. Like he's like likes to whip the ball in hard, fast, low. It's just he needs time. I'm not gonna stand here and start saying go. And so does Lewis. But Lewis is 17. But in Lewis, I do see potential, and the fact that Pep's already putting trust in him at 17 years old makes me think he could be the Walker replacement. Maybe.
Interesting. All right, so that is.
So now to you, do you think we should be worried about Arsenal?
No. Not in the slightest. No.
That was quicker than mine.
Yeah. No, like you should not be. Do Arsenal deserve their flowers? Yes. Have they played well? Yes. Arteta's got them playing good football. They look good going. They look decent going forward. Not creating a lot, but they look decent going forward. Look very good defensively. And he's getting the most out of them. And they've surprised me. I would not have expected them to have been top at this point of the season. However, you mentioned it already, which actually, I have to even think about that. City playing Saturday, then it's over to them on Sunday. That's a different pressure. Where say there's 3 points between you and City win on the Saturday. Now on the Sunday, you have to respond to that. Say City go 3 points in front, and then Sunday you have to win to get back level with Manchester City. That's different. Being in the title race is different.
And another one is they've got to play us home and away still.
Oh yeah, you man ain't played yet. That's a fair point. I didn't even think
so. And again, right now, if you go on what happened this weekend, then you're going to say, "Oh well, Arsenal beat Wolves away and you lost to Brentford at home." So not
a good side. We know.
Of course, yeah, and I hear that, but again, this is the week before the World Cup. There's no pressure on. It's November, 14 games in. If we look at the last 12 league games, we've won 11 of them. They've drawn 1. Right, so. I can look at last week or I can look at the last 12 times we've played each other. And of course, yes, you have Jesus and you have Zinchenko. Is that supposed to make me think that you are now capable of beating us home and away? No, it isn't.
That's it. I just think it's such a mismatch. As well as Arsenal are playing, when it comes down to, I don't know, there's 15 games left. This is why I don't take... Arsenal have to do something for me to take them serious.
We're not a third of the way through the season yet.
That's
Not even a third of the way through the season.
This is why I'm like, Arsenal have to do something. Playing well. And when I say they have to do something, I'm saying this is just my personal opinion on it. They have to go and do something that makes me go, Arsenal have to be taken seriously. If 8 games to go, Arsenal are still close to City and in a title race, I go, you know what? Props to them. Because I don't expect them to.
Do you know what? Let me put it this way. So Arsenal are top at the moment, 5 points clear, right? You asked me, are we in a title race with us? Should I be worried about Arsenal? And I'm like, no, not really. Now, Tottenham, have scored a couple of last-minute goals in Champions League games, right? Yeah. They've played poorly, but they've scored last-minute goals in Champions League games. Do I want to play Tottenham in the knockout stages of the Champions League? No, I don't.
How come? Go on.
Well, and see, I answered that a lot quicker than the Arsenal one. Bro, because they've done something. They've done something that worries me. Teams that can score last-minute goals in Champions League games, that worries me, bro. I've got PTSD in the Champions League. I haven't. Yeah,
you do have PTSD.
Rightly so, by the way. Yeah, whereas on the Premier League, title races, I don't have no PTSDs in no title races. We do that. So that's why that I can look at. I know what this club does. And when people, oh, but what if Haaland, or what if all these what ifs, I can do what ifs, or my brain can do what brains should do, and they go back to the the history of what they've experienced, and they go, you know what, title races, yeah, City do that, bro. Our first ever title race with you, man, yeah. I think we were something like 9 points behind you, with something like six games left to play. It was something mental like that, yeah. We just lost to Arsenal on a Sunday, and we all were ready to throw the towel and go, we fucked it, yeah. And from that moment, we kind of, I always say it is banter, but it's kind of true that people have to remember that was against a Sir Alex Ferguson Manchester United with Rio Ferdinand still in the team.
Absolutely.
Still in the team, yeah. And
still a good team.
At that point, to play till the 93rd minute and score and win the league because of it, it felt like a moment from Mortal Kombat where we ripped inside you, man, grabbed that last minute thing and said, and swallowed it and said, we're having that and we're running with that now. We'll do this now. Like, honestly, when you think about it, because we've said we want that DNA. That DNA wins you fucking trophies. That's what we want.
Absolutely.
And so my memory bank goes back to that. So on Tottenham, it goes back to our shit nights in the Champions League. In the league against Arsenal, it's going back to what we do every season. So
yeah, like you've been there, done that, and I think people really, really, really strongly underestimate having been there and done that in title races and Premier Leagues. It's not easy, you know. It's not easy.
I underestimated it till last season. I'm not gonna lie, bro. That last day of the season, based on what we've done before, maybe I would have believed. At 2-0 down to Villa, I didn't believe.
You didn't believe. See that? Because I've been there, obviously not recently, but as a United fan, never thinking it's over when we was in our pump, because I'd seen it so many times where Manchester United would just come back from the dead in games, come back from the dead 2-0 down and win 3-2, or 1-0 down and win 2-1 and things of that nature, or even be 1-0 down and get a draw. And sometimes, I think Gary Neville stated this, in title races, when you look at the end of it and you look at certain draws, some draws are not 2 points dropped. Some draws are a point gained. And there's many a times in Manchester United title races where we'd score a late goal and we draw the game 1-1, or we draw 2-2. And you go, at the time, you'd be pissed. But when you look back at it, you go, that was an important point.
Oh, 100%. And that's the thing. And when we did it last year, it was a whole different squad. Completely different squad. Not one player that was there 93-20. Not the same manager. Nothing. Everything different. Right, okay. So now it's like, right, this is no longer, Vinny was carrying that, or this player was. No, this is now in the DNA of the club that we know to keep playing till the last minute. And in a mad way, you saw it the other day against Brentford. We lost that game, but in the 98th minute, they could have gone 3-1 up.
Yeah.
And Bernardo Silva and De Bruyne came flying back out of nowhere. Not the defenders, De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva. De Bruyne cleared it off the line, and then Bernardo was off trying to win the ball back to take it back the other end. It's like, no, we've got a minute left, but we ain't stopping. That's that. Arsenal haven't done anything like that to make me say,
that's it. They've had a good run. It's kind of like, how do I put this? I put it in professional boxing. Like, you're currently a contender, but you haven't beaten anybody of significance that makes everyone go, you know what? That boxer could be the best in the division. Every boxer, if you look at who's had a successful career, has had that fight that made them become a star. You have to have that fight.
You're saying Arsenal were like AJ. Every time they come up against someone, they get put on their ass. AJ or Eubank, one of the two.
In no disrespect to AJ, the reason why I don't get onto Anthony Joshua, because to me, and I was saying this from Yonks back, the Sarcasm cities of me talking about this, never once did I think he was the best heavyweight in the division.
Yeah, agreed.
Never at one time did I ever think he is. But very similar to that, it's kind of like, how do I put this? Tyson Fury beating Klitschko. That made everybody because I doubted him before that. That made everybody who doubted Tyson Fury go, Tyson Fury's the real deal. Arsenal need their Klitschko fight.
Yeah.
Klitschko fight to me is being in the title race with a few games to go.
And yeah, exactly. I'm trying to think if Arsenal have done anything this season where, and I'm not discrediting, like I said, the 4-0 against Brentford. That was a great result.
Yeah,
Palace
the way they managed to
2-0.
bounce back, yes.
I'm trying to think, have they ever been in a game so far where they've looked on the ropes?
I ain't watched them like that. Somebody in the chat will probably pop up, but I can't think of
I don't know if they have been on the ropes.
Plus, it's still very early as well. People are forgetting that. It's still extremely early. Where are they at when it's 30 games and the season's gone and there's 8 games to go? Where are they at when it's 33 and it's 5 games, 34 and it's 4? Where you at game match week 36? Game week.
That's the thing.
37.
I've had Arsenal fans like from game week 6 saying, when I'm saying this, and they're saying, well, come back at the end of November. I'm like, bro, I've told you the business end of the season. The end of November is not the business end of the season. For me, January is not the business end of the season.
No, it's not.
You know, it's February when, I mean, look, City had a shit February last year. We had a really bad February last year.
I didn't know this.
Yeah. It's the point where I was saying I don't know how we're going to do this because January was when we were 14 points clear, but Liverpool had 2 games in hand on us. Yeah. Then in February, we went and fucked up and dropped points. And I was like, we could have won this league very easily, but we've allowed these men to get back in it. And I don't know who's going to drag us over the line. Then De Bruyne stepped up and just kept scoring every other game and getting assists and whatever. But Arsenal haven't done that yet. They need to do that. Now, let me just say, we look at their squad and we go, they've got no one in the squad that has that in them. But no one has that in them until they do it. So I will respect, you know what? You know, and with Zinchenko and Jesus, they're both fighters. At City, they had to fight for their place every single season. And by the end of most seasons, they were usually starting for us. So they are fighters. And Arteta, obviously, he's soaked up Pep's whole philosophy on life. So they are well equipped in that way, as far as they've got 2 fighters. But I don't think that's enough. I think, and someone... At the moment, what's given me a bit of faith as well, Arsenal fans are saying they need to strengthen in January, right?
They definitely do.
And Arsenal fans are talking about the players they want, right? And they're like, but I don't know if we're going to get them or not. And I'm like, for me, you don't want to get the players that you man are talking about, right? Because the players you're talking about, you would have been talking about similar level players in the summer, last summer before. You would have been, the amount of times I was going on Arsenal streams to be asked about Jesus, and I'm having Arsenal fans tell me that Maitland-Niles is better than Jesus and that Zinchenko is a downgrade and all of that. Don't think that I've forgot this, Arsenal fans. I was having to come on and try and talk you man into liking Zinchenko and Jesus. I haven't forgot that. Yeah. Now you're talking about the players you want in the summer. Now, if you get the players you want in the summer, in January, I'm pretty confident. I'm even more confident we win the league. What you want is players that don't fit your profile, that still think you're Real Madrid, because you're not, right? You want the players that Arteta knows you need. You want the players that are coming in with something to prove, right? Buying into with the right mentality, not the players. If Arsenal fans took over Arsenal, they would go back to old Arsenal in minutes.
Oh yeah, I think any fan base. I think every fan base is like I want all fans. Well, as a Manchester United fan, I don't want Manchester United fans anywhere near the decisions of our football club. But carry on, I get your point.
And you think about it, bro. If you look at world class, like elite players, that come to the Premier League, not too many of them actually fucking. I mean, all right. So you've got Haaland at the moment, right?
Doing the business.
But even more so, if you're a team that is not an elite club at the moment, you better not be aiming for Mbappe's, because if Mbappe comes to your club, he's coming for the wrong reason. Yeah. Because he's an elite player, you're not an elite club.
It depends on what it is. Because we've been like, and someone mentioned it earlier, and obviously I will get to it I'll be talking about it, but we got linked to them, which for me would be a dream. Do I see it happening? No. But we got linked to them today. I don't know if it's a credible source or not.
But this is the thing. Man United, once Man United have got back to where they were, won the league, you'd get it. But if Mbappe came right now, there would be a bit of you that would be like, why is he joining us?
It's one of them. I would... Where I stand on the Mbappe thing is because I see both sides, so I'm a fan. But for people who are like, why are we signing him? Bad attitude. this could go
Oh
wrong.
no! I'm not saying that though.
Nah, no,
What
you're
I'm
not saying
saying,
that. I'm saying I hear
yeah,
that side of the argument. But what I'm saying is, if Mbappe does come in and it goes right, he is the type of player who elevates your club from here.
of course,
He levels up your club if it goes right. He is Van Persie to Manchester United in terms of he can
yeah,
take you from being a title contender to a title winner. To me,
yeah,
Mbappe, if it goes right, if you put him into any of the clubs, if you put him into Arsenal, Chelsea, if you put him into Liverpool, even if you put him into City, you put him into any
100%. He
United,
goes
he
anywhere and
can
does
level
it.
up.
Same with Haaland. But I just think
Haaland's like that. Yes. Yeah.
if you look at like Aubameyang, when they signed Aubameyang, Arsenal were poor. Why was he going there? And now you look at it and look at kind of, and if you look back at it, he'd had issues before. Real Madrid had pulled out like on him. Yeah. So I just think sometimes you need to be aiming for these Zinchenko's, these Jesuses that they're used to fighting. So now they've joined Arsenal. They're ready to, one, fight for their position, but two, they're ready to fight for the league as well. And they need to be getting like, so right now, if I was Arsenal, I think they need experience as well. I think they need to get one or two winners in their team. I don't know who, because they need a DM. They need party cover. Has to be.
Oh, they definitely need more. Like, and 100 and get more is the question, but we don't know yet. Yeah. Well, unsure.
I think they will buy. It's just if they buy right.
Okay, so what would it take for you to be worried about Arsenal in terms of the January window? What would it do for you to be like,
for me to worry about Arsenal, they would have to beat us home and away, firstly. Right? If they beat us in both games, I'd worry. They'd have to get, at very least, they'd have to get experienced, proven backup for Partey, which is hard. In the January transfer window, they need to get an experienced, proven DM that can hit the ground running. Because Partey, I think we would all agree, if Partey is out, then Arsenal are going to be in trouble.
Oh, absolutely. Without doubt. Yeah. I don't dispute that for 1 second in regards to that. He's key to what they do and have going on, as is a Gabriel Jesus as well. 110%.
Yeah.
But I don't see any of that happen. Go on, carry on, Dubs. Carry on.
That's what I'm saying. I can't see how you can, in a January window, get someone bedded in that quickly and experienced. And I also think they need someone. Maybe they need one or two players that have done this before, got a team over the line before.
Interesting. That's very interesting. That could make a major change. But yeah, I think that's very tough to go and get, because that's a very, 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 very small pool of football players in regards to who's 100%. Available, especially in January as well.
Yeah, like exactly. And that's why I think it's hard. I always said on when we needed, before we got Ruben Diaz, there was for ages where we just needed centre-back cover. And I kept saying, Johnny Evans, someone go and get Johnny Evans. Like, and I remember having a conversation with Arsenal fans and them laughing at me. And the amount of times I've said to Arsenal fans over players like Johnny Evans, players like James Milner, players like Gareth Barry, where I've said to Arsenal fans, if you, man, got more players like that, you wouldn't be where you are, right? Because you laugh at players like that are experienced, that have done it all, that fucking, their diet's perfect. They give 100%. They're 7, 8 out of 10s every game. You, man, laugh at that because you want Aubameyangs and Ozils, right? Keep laughing. And now, look, they're slowly getting to that mold where they used to laugh about utility players, a player that can play. Now they've got Zinchenko, the ultimate utility player. They're just slow on the uptake, but
out here, we close out.
I've lost you. I don't know if that's
subscribe to the channel. Make sure you subscribe. Yeah, I'm back. Is it me? Yeah, it's because I got another tab open. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's on me. Yeah. That's my end. It's my end. But yeah, hit the like button, people. Hit the like button. Make sure you share this across all the socials as well. Subscribe to the channel, Sarcasm City TV. Make sure you go subscribe to Never a Foul as well. Before you go, Daps, quick, want to get your thoughts. Champions League. How are you looking at that? Because that is the thing that has eluded Manchester City and eluded Pep. So I'll let you touch on that quickly for 5 minutes before we close out.
A few people have said that we're looking like a cup team this season as well, which is Look, the Champions League is it's the hardest one for me to answer because, you know, everyone wants me to come on here and go, yep, we're going to win it 100%. I can't do that. I can't see the future. I can't. What I can tell you is I'm very happy that Real Madrid and Liverpool have drawn each other because they're two teams with heritage. One of them's out. I'm happy that Bayern Munich have got PSG because one of them's got heritage and the other one's very good. So I'm happy that's happened. Leipzig, it should be a walk in the park. But the one thing, when I was asked who I wanted in the next round, I said, give us PSG. Fuck it. Why not? Because every other fan base, if we don't win this thing, if we don't win this thing, every other fan base is going to grill us as much as if we go out to PSG in the last 16. If we don't win this, nothing matters. So we might as well play every single team that we need to play and knock them out at some point, because if we don't win it, it's not good enough. So we give us everyone. I don't mind. We've got to play. We're going to have to play good teams sooner or later. But look, it's looking good. We've got a clutch player now, which is important for us, I think. We've tried it a few times, doing it the City way, and we've got the clutch player now. And we've seen moments like that from him, where he can come on and he can change a game. So, which is what we needed. We just need, at the moment, we just need to get some momentum behind us, 100% in. And for me, the key to doing that is Pep needs to stop rotating now. Maybe it was rotating because of injuries and whatever else, but from we get back from the World Cup, he can rotate against Liverpool in the Carabao. That's fine, right? But then after that, it just needs to be, unless there's injuries, the same centre-backs, same full-backs, slight little, you know, the usual changes you would see in a City team, like, do we play Gundogan or Bernardo? Those type of choices, not we're going to change our whole midfield, 2 right backs. And it needs to be just little tweaks here and there. And then, yeah, can we win the Champions League this season? Yes, let me give you an answer to that. Yes, we can win the Champions League this season. Do we have as good a chance as any to win the Champions League this season? We probably have a better chance than ever to win the Champions League this season.
I agree with that, with how the draw's gone as well. With the two, with Liverpool drawing Real Madrid, with PSG drawing Bayern. So 2 of those 4 are going out. So yeah,
100%. A couple of the teams that maybe you wouldn't want to face, a couple of the teams that you'd say, I don't mind facing in the group stages, but when it gets to knockout stages, I wouldn't want to face. Teams like Barcelona, teams like Atletico Madrid, teams like Juventus, that, all right, they're not looking good right now, but they've played in this tournament before. They've gone a long way. Yeah. I wouldn't want to play them.
Thanks for the vote of confidence.
No, I think, do you know what? When you first,
I think we'll beat them. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, I think that as well. When you first got them, I thought, oh, United are fucked. Then I started thinking about it. I thought, hold on a second. No, they're not. No, they're not. Like, Barcelona are very average at the moment. And under Ten Hag, United are making, I think at home as well. At home, you lot are looking good. Like, you're looking hard to beat at home, man. Very hard. So
Absolutely. I know my connection is moving a little bit.
I can't tell you if we will win it. I wish I could, but I think we've got as good a chance as ever to win it, like better than ever. And I can't say we should. For me to even say we should win it, it's a Champions League. Do you know? I've been told by United and Liverpool fans my whole life how big it is to win the Champions League. Now all of a sudden, apparently it's really fucking easy to win it now. Like, but
no.
I'm not going to say we should win it.
People just winning bands. It's not easy.
If we don't get to the semi-final, one thing I can say is if we don't get to the semi-final, that's poor. Yeah. I can say that with chest. Like, we have to get to the semi-final without fail. After that, you know, it's a Champions League. Little bit of luck comes into it, but we'll see.
All right, first.
I'm still league over Champions League as well, by the way.
Nothing wrong with that. Everyone has their preference. Nothing wrong with that. We will see. Big up to that joining us. I have put the redirect on because we are going live literally in a couple minutes for the Mandem United podcast people. So we'll be discussing everything Manchester United. Ivorian will be there, a couple special guests. Of course, we'll be talking the Ronaldo situation. That's going to be the main thing. I know my connection was moving a little bit against people, but that's simply because I had another tab open. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, what's going on? I might close down another tab, but that's why if my connection's moving a little bit. What is going on here? Connection moving suspect. What is happening?
Please smash a like, though, people. same way. You're back-ish.
Yeah. Hit the like button. Yeah, I'm back-ish in it. It's moving. I can see there. Daps, let them know where they can find you anyway.
Yeah, Never a Foul.
Make sure
Never a
you
Foul on
join.
YouTube. Never a Foul. Just go to Never a Foul. That's all I'm going to say. My socials are below, but most importantly, Never a Foul. And I will be on Big Six tonight at Big Six Extra tonight at 9 p.m. But it's going to be on Turkish London tonight for 1 week only. So yeah, head over there. Good panel. Very good. You've gone completely. I think now.
My shit moving. One sec, Daps. Yeah. I've gone completely. One second. Jesus. Yo, am I back? I'm back now in Harrownet. Am I back?
Yeah.
And now I've gone again. Jesus Christ, this thing moving.
We can wrap it, bro. Listen, Never a Foul, people, and stay on this stream, and you will be redirected to the next stream.
I've done the redirect stream. It's already gone live, people. Big up to Daps for joining Sarcasm City TV special. Make sure you do that. I know I'm back for the short time. Yes, I'm here. Daps, big up for joining as well. Make sure you follow him across all his socials.
Love always. Yeah, we'll get something hooked up for the new year, man.
We definitely gonna sort something out for the new year. I've done the redirect. I've already started the Mandem United podcast. Make sure you check out the Big Six Extra at 9 p.m. as well. But head over to the Mandem United podcast now. And this is Sarcasm City TV Sports Special, the first one, people. Got more coming up this week live on the Sarcasm City TV YouTube. Big up and see you lot in 2 minutes.